And I'll tell you what, Drew, so I didn't even know these two teams were playing. I did not give a single thought to this game because I didn't think I needed to. I thought very certain that TCU was going to take care of Houston. Houston hadn't scored a point in 8 quarters. They shut out in back-to-back games like they're Iowa playing a ranked football team. And TCU has had their problems, but they go on the road, beat up on Kansas last week, and I thought, okay, maybe they're riding the ship. Houston's a great get right game. Houston stinks. Houston's the worst, the worst team in the Big 12. I was wrong. I was so off base. Houston handles TCU 30-19 in Amon G. Carter Stadium. I mean, that is as bad as it gets.
I that one really was a jaw-dropping result. Uh, it continues kind of our trend. We talked about it last week with TCU losing that national championship game a couple of years ago, and just maybe things aren't clicking anymore. We see it with Florida State right now too. They're 1-5 after getting demolished in their Big Six bowl game last year. This is genuinely stunning. And I want to give Houston a lot of credit. Houston couldn't score the football for so much this season. For them to go on a road in state, look, Houston and Dallas Fort Worth have a little bit of an in-state rivalry, clearly, just in various sports professionally, and I'll throw it down to the college scene too. This is a great win for the Houston Cougars, just to go on the road, play quality defense. I'm not worried about that defense. They're playing good defense, but for their offense to find a way to score points, be opportunistic, trust the defense too. Great win for Houston. For TCU, this is just stunning. And I think after beating Kansas pretty handedly the week before, I thought, okay, I think TCU's cleaning it up a little bit. You and I felt very comfortable
Very good.
with that pick. Maybe Kansas is just that bad, as we're kind of starting to get accustomed to more and more, because this was a shocking result, and one that in a weekend of stunners is going to go heavily under the radar because neither team is ranked. TCU is not getting the press they did a couple of years ago when they're on that undefeated run. But this is still a unbelievably disappointing result for Sonny Dykes and staff. And this was a get right year after last year. You had to give them a mulligan, say, all right, it happens. Like, you lose your Heisman quarterback. Just they're regrouping. They'll be much better this year. And for them to, let's say, stay neutral at best, wildly, wildly disappointing for the Horned Frogs.
Yeah, I think my first takeaway on the TCU side of this game is Sonny Dykes has used up. He's going on a speed run on how quickly you could blow through goodwill of getting a team who's never been to a national championship game to a national championship game. And I mean, I've never seen a better year one for a head football coach than what Sonny Dykes did at TCU. All that goodwill is gone. All that goodwill is gone from here on out. Really, I don't see a real path for them this season. They got Utah a week from Saturday because they thank God they got a bye this week, and then they're hosting Texas Tech, who by the way is tied for first place in the Big 12. Watch out for the Red Raiders, just as we all predicted after week 2. Then they go to Baylor. That's a toss up at best. Oklahoma State's they'll probably get right before then. Arizona's been a problem, and then Cincinnati's been much improved from a year ago. So I really, even after the SMU game, I felt like that there was an opportunity for Sonny Dykes to make it to another season to kind of get a reset on the season. Okay, maybe you got the offensive coordinator right. I mean, Kendall Briles has been liked by nobody since he showed up at Fort Worth, and maybe you get an opportunity to right that ship. But then I thought, well, I mean, if this really goes off the rails, 3-4 wins on the season, you take another step back from a 5-win team a year ago, that might be enough to make a change. And they're in real scary territory if that happens. Because we talk at plethora about how important this season is and how important these next 2 seasons are as far as building momentum and trying to be the new bully in the Big 12. And TCU, I thought, was in a great spot for that. And then on the flippity flop, Houston's going to be a problem if Willie Fritz is getting his guys to come out. after getting shut out in back-to-back games and go to
Mm-hmm.
Fort Worth
Yep.
and give TCU the business. Like they're still that locked in after such a rough slate, a rough season. I just imagine when he's out, able to start selling this program to these Houston kids and these Texas kids now can come into DFW and be like, hey, the Cougars own DFW now, and just seeing that go, they're going to be a problem. If the things that I'm seeing are continue and they keep building, Houston's going to be a problem.
Houston absolutely has the resources and talent to definitely develop something. We've seen it with their basketball program, how good they have been the last few years, and they put a lot of money into that. They found a great coach, and they've delivered. And you and I were very high on the Fritz hire, Brandon, when they made that decision. And, we knew they were going to go through some growing pains. But yeah, they've seen those growing pains at times, but they are getting better. I still look back at that Oklahoma loss. Watching that game, yeah, offensively they were abysmal. But I thought that team is fighting. They did not quit that game, and I was impressed by that. Even the Iowa State game, offensively they just couldn't get it going. But I thought those kids did. I mean, that defense fought their tails off. I was impressed. I really was, and they're rewarded with a really nice road victory. They are building something I think that can be very unique. And again, we've hammered this point so many times, but there's plenty of opportunity in the coming years with no traditional power in the Big 12 currently to make run. Houston has that chance. Now, they're a long ways from seeing that. They've got a lot to clean up on the offensive side, but it's very encouraging. And for TCU, look, Gary Patterson, kind of left a few years ago, gave that program a huge shot in the arm. And Coach Dykes, incredible what he did year one, but a lot of those were Gary Patterson's guys. They mixed up a few formulas, Brandon, and it worked out. I mean, that's a quarterback that, was a Patterson guy and, wins the Heisman with Duggan. And now, Dykes guys are coming in here, and I don't know if they're producing at a Big 12 level, and that's a problem. That's a problem, and the execution just hasn't been there. It's shocking. This one, you and I think that was our highest confidence level of the week, if I remember correctly. I felt great about that game, and shows in this league though, Brandon, 0 weeks off this year. That should be a message to every single locker room. You don't take a week off in the Big 12, because if you do, home or away, you'll get smacked.